Scripture promised that if we lift up the oppressed, then our light will rise in the darkness, and our night will become like the noonday. And the story contained in this museum makes those words prophecy. And that's what this day is about. That's what this museum is about. I. Two, am America. It is a glorious story, the one that's told here. It is complicated and it is messy and it is full of contradictions. As all great stories are, as Shakespeare is, as Scripture is. And it's a story that perhaps needs to be told now more than ever. A museum alone will not alleviate poverty in every inner city or every rural hamlet. It won't eliminate gun violence from all our neighborhoods. Or immediately ensure that justice is always colorblind. It won't wipe away every instance of discrimination in a job. Interview or a sentencing hearing or folks trying to rent an apartment. Those things are up to us, the decisions and choices we make. It requires speaking out, and organizing, and voting. Until our values are fully reflected in our laws and our policies and our communities. But what this museum does show us is that in even the face of oppression, even in the face of unimaginable difficulty, America has moved forward. And so this museum provides context for the debates of our times. It illuminates them and gives us some sense of how they evolved, and perhaps keeps them in proportion. Perhaps it can help a white visitor understand the pain and anger of demonstrators in places like Tulsa and Charlotte. but it can also help Black visitors appreciate the fact that not only is this younger generation carrying on traditions of the past but within the white communities across this nation we see the sincerity of law enforcement officers and officials who in fits and starts, are struggling to understand, and are trying to do the right thing. It reminds us that routine discrimination and Jim Crow aren't ancient history. It's just a blink in the eye of history. It was just yesterday. And so we should not be surprised that not all the healing is done. We shouldn't despair that it's not all solved. And knowing the larger story should instead remind us of just how remarkable the changes that have taken place truly are. Just in my lifetime and thereby inspire us to further progress. And so hopefully this museum can help us talk to each other. And more importantly, listen to each other. And most importantly, see each other. Black and white and Latino and Native American and Asian American, see how our stories are bound together. And bound together with women in America, and workers in America. And entrepreneurs in America, and LGBT Americans. And for young people who didn't live through the struggles represented here. I hope you draw strength from the changes that have taken place. Come here and see the power of your own agency. See how young John Lewis was. These were children who transformed a nation in a blink of an eye. Young people, come here and see your ability to make your mark. The very fact of this day does not prove that America is perfect. But it does validate the ideas of our founding, that this country born of change. This country born of revolution, this country of we, the people, this country can get better. And that's why we celebrate, mindful that our work is not yet done. Mindful that we are but on a way station on this common journey towards freedom. And how glorious it is that we enshrine it here. On some of our nation's most hallowed ground, the same place where lives were once traded, but also where hundreds of thousands of Americans of all colors and creeds, once marched. How joyful it is that this story take its rightful place alongside Jefferson, who declared our independence. And Washington, who made it real, and alongside Lincoln, who saved our Union, and the GIs who defended it. Alongside a new monument to a king, gazing outward, summoning us toward that mountaintop. How righteous it is that we tell this story here. For almost 8 years, I have been blessed with the extraordinary honor of serving you in this office. Time and again, I've flown low over this mall on Marine One, often with Michelle and our daughters. And President Clinton, President Bush, they'll tell you it is incredible sight. We pass right across the Washington Monument. It feels like you can reach out and touch it. And at night, if you turn the other way, you don't just see the Lincoln Memorial, Old Abe is lit up and you can see him. His spirit glowing from that building. And we don't have many trips left. But over the years, I've always been comforted as I've watched this museum rise from this earth into this remarkable tribute. Because I know that years from now, like all of you, Michelle and I will be able to come here to this museum. And not just bring our kids but hopefully our grandkids. I imagine holding a little hand of somebody and tell them the stories that are enshrined here. And in the years that follow, they'll be able to do the same. And then we'll go to the Lincoln Memorial and we'll take in the view atop the Washington Monument. And together, we'll learn about ourselves, as Americans, our sufferings, our delights, and our triumphs. And we'll walk away better for it, better because the better grasp of history. We'll walk away that much more in love with this country. The only place on earth where this story could have unfolded. It is a monument, no less than the others on this mall. To the deep and abiding love for this country, and the ideals upon which it is founded. For we, too, are America. So enough talk. President Bush is timing me. He had the over/under at 25. Let us now open this museum to the world. Today, we have with us a family that reflects the arc of our progress, the Bonner family, 4 generations in all. Starting with gorgeous 7-year-old Christine and going up to gorgeous 99-year-old Ruth. Now, Ruth's father, Elijah Odom, was born into servitude in Mississippi. He was born a slave. As a young boy, he ran, though, to his freedom. He lived through Reconstruction and he lived through Jim Crow. But he went on to farm, and graduate from medical school. And gave life to the beautiful family that we see today with the spirit reflected in beautiful Christine. Free and equal in the laws of her country and in the eyes of God. So in a brief moment, their family will join us in ringing a bell from the First Baptist Church in Virginia. One of the oldest black churches in America, founded under a grove of trees in 1776. And the sound of this bell will be echoed by others in houses of worship and town squares all across this country, an echo of the ringing. Bells that signaled emancipation more than a century and a half ago, the sound, and the anthem, of American freedom. God bless you all. God bless the United States of America. Barack Obama. Address at the White House Conference on Aging. Delivered July 13, 2015, White House, Washington, D. C. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Please have a seat. Welcome to the White House Conference on Aging, everybody. And please give Vicky a big round of applause for the outstanding. Work she's doing to help women and families prepare for retirement. I want to thank the members of Congress who are here. Those in my administration who've been working on this issue. I want to especially point out one of my favorite former members of Congress. A legend who's here today, John Dingell. John was elected to Congress when he was just 29, an overachiever. Ten years later, he presided over the House chamber for the vote to pass Medicare. Into law, an achievement for which he and his father can take some credit. Last week, John turned 89, so we want to wish John a happy birthday. He's been a retiree for 6 months. But he's keeping busy. Just check out his Twitter feed if you don't believe me. So he's still got some pretty strong opinions. It is wonderful to be here with all of you. Many of you have devoted your careers to advocating for older Americans. You understand the whole terrain, not just the challenges, but also the opportunities. Not only the questions we're asking today, but the questions that we have to start thinking about for tomorrow. And because this conference takes place just once a decade, we've got to make it count. So one of the best measures of a country is how it treats its older citizens. And by that measure, the United States has a lot to be proud of. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security are some of our greatest triumphs as a nation. When Social Security was signed into law, far too many seniors were living in poverty. When Medicare was created, only a little more than half of all seniors had some form of insurance. Before Medicaid came along, families often had no help paying for nursing home costs. Today, the number of seniors in poverty has fallen dramatically. Every American over 65 has access to affordable health care. And, by the way, since the Affordable Care Act was signed into law, the uninsured rate for all Americans has fallen by about 1/3. Just thought I'd mention that.